Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, picture this. What if the end of the world was a little less about dodging flesh-eating zombies and a lot more about figuring out how you're going to pay your mortgage? Today, we are diving deep into the captivating mind of an author who is completely redefining speculative fiction. Now, when most of us think of science fiction, our minds instantly race toward flashy technological spectacles, right? Massive spaceships, laser battles, alien worlds. But author Will McIntosh takes a completely different path. As we're going to see today, he prioritizes the human heart over the shiny hardware, blending these massive speculative concepts with deeply relatable emotional experiences, things like grief, loneliness, and love. So let's instantly subvert our expectations here. While traditional sci-fi loves to give us these action-heavy plots, the cinematic explosions, the sudden world-ending disasters, and those chosen one heroes who always seem to know exactly what to do, McIntosh flips the script entirely. His brand of sci-fi is incredibly emotion-heavy. He zeroes in on messy, anxious, very flawed individuals, and rather than a sudden, dramatic disaster, he explores the agonizing, everyday reality of gradual decline. He's really asking us what it means to remain human during moments of massive cultural or technological shift, and how ordinary people actually survive extraordinary situations. Section 1. The Speculative Human Heart. Now, here's a really crucial piece of the puzzle. Before becoming a full-time writer, Will McIntosh actually worked as a psychology professor. Social psychology, to be exact. And this isn't just some fun trivia fact. It is literally the foundation for his intense focus on behavioral observation and emotional realism. When he poses a speculative what-if scenario, he's not agonizing over the astrophysics or the hard science behind the idea. He's watching how people emotionally respond to those changes. Even when his stories drop us into futuristic settings or apocalyptic wastelands, the emotional struggles of the characters are always the true beating heart of the narrative.
Which brings us to Section 2, Ordinary People, Strange Worlds.
It's really fascinating to look at his core method. He takes these massive, bizarre, speculative events, dystopian societies, supernatural elements, environmental collapse, totally altered realities, but pairs them with deeply intimate, psychological responses rather than heroics. He focuses on fear, isolation, guilt, memory, intimacy. Take his novel Love Minus 80, for example, where cryogenic freezing is used, but it's used to explore the devastating loneliness of modern dating. It's wild. He takes the completely unreal and pairs it with the deeply real. And by doing this, he blurs the line between science fiction and literary fiction, prioritizing psychological realism just as much as the plot itself. And because his protagonists are just average people, no superpowers, no magic armor, the narrative tension entirely abandons pure adventure. Instead, it zeroes in on exactly what would break us in the real world: emotional reactions, impossible moral choices, internal conflict, heavy psychological pressure, and complex social dynamics. They react to these strange worlds exactly how you or I would, with confusion, fear, uncertainty, and incredible vulnerability. His characters are never just simple heroes or mustache-twirling villains. They're complicated people trying to navigate impossible circumstances, struggling with loneliness or the terrifying fear of losing meaning in their lives. And honestly, that's what makes his work feel so incredibly intimate, no matter how vast the fictional world gets. Section 3. Themes of Human Survival. A perfect example of this unique approach is his acclaimed 2011 novel and Hugo Award-winning concept, The Soft Apocalypse. Usually, an apocalypse in fiction is a single, loud, catastrophic event, right? A meteor strike, a nuclear bomb, a sudden zombie outbreak. But McIntosh imagines the slow, agonizing collapse of American society over time. Survival in a soft apocalypse isn't just about scavenging for canned food and dodging explosions. It's about gradual decline. It's about emotional adaptation and the really heavy psychological toll of prolonged instability. It is fundamentally about how you maintain your sanity as the world slowly, quietly changes around you. Think about traditional apocalyptic stories. They focus heavily on, second one, the sudden catastrophe, the immediate chaos and panic. But McIntosh maps out a much longer, far more grueling path. He explores month 1, with its creeping economic instability. Year 5, watching the local infrastructure slowly decay. All the way out to year 10, where the focus is almost entirely on long-term psychological adaptation. He is deeply, deeply interested in how societies slowly transform under pressure, and how forced adaptation is just as much a psychological challenge as it is a physical one. So if we zoom out and look at the thematic DNA of his entire body of work, these 5 interconnected themes pop up over and over again.
Isolation and loneliness, where characters feel totally disconnected from society. Grief and memory, where they are forced to confront unresolved trauma. Social collapse, which we just talked about. Humanity and technology, exploring how tech fundamentally alters our morality. And finally, survival and adaptation. Together, these really show a writer constantly exploring how human beings desperately seek meaning and connection during times of undeniable change.
Section 4. How to read Will Mackintosh.
If you're studying literature or honestly just picking up one of his books for fun, keep this analytical framework in the back of your mind. Don't go in looking for the fastest spaceship or the biggest laser. Instead, look closely for his specific stylistic choices. Notice the emotionally realistic dialogue and the psychologically complex characters. Pay attention to that subtle emotional tension and the reflective narration he uses. Watch how he masterfully utilizes slow-building conflict. And perhaps most importantly, look for the moral ambiguity, the agonizingly difficult choices his characters face. He is always balancing realism with these huge speculative ideas, tying the fantastic directly back to our real-world concerns.
Ultimately, what Will Mackintosh proves is that science fiction isn't just about imagining cool gadgets or dreaming up distant galaxies. It's actually a profound, incredibly powerful tool for exploring human emotion, our social anxieties, and our deepest cultural fears. He holds up a mirror to our own real-world need for connection, emotional resilience, and ethics. His stories manage to feel incredibly imaginative, yet deeply, almost painfully personal at the exact same time. Which brings me to a rather provocative question I want to leave you with today, drawn straight from his core themes. Does technological advancement truly improve our emotional well-being? As we rush headfirst toward our own highly speculative future, it's a question Will Mackintosh forces us to stop and ask ourselves. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this gives you a brand new framework for exploring the beautifully human fiction of Will Mackintosh. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will see you next time.